Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis updated commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go through it. And if you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That's where I dive deeper into all these sectors, topics, looking for potential investment opportunities. I am very aggressive, or I'm aggressive at the right times, is what I like to think. I look for the best risk reward opportunities with the highest probability of success. That is what I'm looking for in the markets. That does not mean that I'm in the highest risk stuff. I try to combine all of those things, stir it all up and find the best opportunities in the market during certain market times or periods. We do have a coupon code that's still active, Mayday coupon code, so you can save some money if you'd like to join. We do have a question and answer session coming up tomorrow, Saturday at 7 a.m. Mountain Time. I do tape those and release them on the website. Let's dive in. Let's take a look, see what's going on today. We've got the DXY that is continuing to slowly work its way on up. Momentum is still to the upside. We're losing a little bit of momentum here over the past 2 days, but it still exists and it's still to the upside. Generally, the driver of this is interest rates moving on up at a faster pace than other monetary interest rates. So really, this is just a measuring stick of the dollar versus other currencies. That's all it is. So we've been outperforming here the past few weeks. The 2-year yield down slightly. It's losing a little bit of its momentum over the past few days. We'll see if that turns or if it's just right on support where we can eventually head on higher. That is unknown in the short term at the moment, but right now, momentum is still upward. That has not turned yet. We've got the 10-year up. Continues a little bit higher, momentum still to the upside, hasn't turned. And the 30 years up, has not turned, and that actually looks pretty strong on the 30-year. So we might be able to continue to extend this higher and actually break to the upside, leading this to a false breakdown to the downside. That very well could be the case, false breakdown. What that means is that people get off sides, and this slingshots to the upside. That's your slingshot cheetah potential. What would drive that? Oil price. Oil price could. And inflation. Inflatione. TYX TNX ratio up a little bit today. That will support gold and silver, especially if we get the 2 and 10 to uninvert, which we do have. We've got TLT pulling on back from those yields, moving on up. We're back to support. We've got a lot of support in here, and we'll see if it holds. Then we've got the 2 and 10 uninverting. So we had a short little move up, and we are uninverting, and the uninversion is taking place with the 10-year going up and the 2-year going down. That's these guys here. So 10 years up, 0.6%, 2 years down, 0.25, uninversion of the yield curve. And why does that matter? Well, if this starts to dive bomb, that's your recession signal. Dive bombing. Not going down slow, not going up like we are, not going sideways. Dive bombing. Dive bombing means that we are literally shedding interest rates to the downside. Like we are going down. That's generally when it occurs. Like that. That is these waterfall moments is when you need to start to panic. But we're still holding on, and that very well could come in the future. Gold up $34. We'll round $34 an ounce, looking strong, feeling strong. We could maybe even throw kind of a little bit of a trend line there. Looking like it's breaking out. Looks pretty good for gold. So that looks really good for gold, and we'll see if we continue higher next week. Silver up 1.66. We're still next to these large selling pressure candlesticks. We haven't reversed at the same speed yet. We could still move sideways to some degree. We'll see what the follow through looks like here over the next few trading sessions, but we're above a lot of support. It looks good. Platinum also coming up today, looking pretty strong, up 2%. Still below the stinking trend line, which is this resistance trend line here. I do think this is going to break at some point. Probably soon, like within months. And then palladium just trading sideways today. No real action there. Momentum still to the upside. We've got GDX, GDXJ, all kind of just moving sideways today. Little candlesticks. Again, they still look good. We just need silver and gold to continue to go higher. We're gonna look real smart if they do. XAU to gold ratio. So we had a little bit of underperformance of the mining companies versus the metals themselves. There we are. We're still at a really good location in terms of the ratio of gold miners to gold. Very low, and we don't have a ton of selling pressure. Still looks good to work its way on up. And that's all I do, guys. I just look at the selling pressure here and say, hey, it's not really selling off. We don't have big red candlesticks that are engulfing. You can also look to see if there's any sort of contraction. You know, the moves here, do they contract in smaller and smaller movements, which it is. Look, that's all good for a potential move higher. Crude oil moving sideways today, down 0.37. It's a little bloody nose. It still looks okay to work its way on up if it wants to. Not a lot of selling pressure. It looks good. It looks good. TTF gas down 1.4. Not a lot of selling pressure right at resistance. Still looks good to try to break through. Natural gas in America, a little bit of selling pressure there. We could potentially go sideways or lower with that bearish engulfing that we've got today. They're a lot stronger when it's a turning point like this than it is down here. So I wouldn't be like, oh my God, we got a reversal candlestick. It's not reversing. It was falling already, but it just means we could maybe continue a little bit. There's still sellers there that are selling it off, even at this turning point. Usually at turning points, you don't see these bearish engulfings. You start to see a turn. Boy, XOP, yeah, you know me, right up against resistance. We were up 1.1%, and we're right underneath this resistance. On the weekly, it looks fine. It looks good to go higher. It's just a little bloody nose right on resistance of this big bullish engulfing candlestick. OIH up a little bit, still looks good to work its way on up on the weekly. The daily, we're up a little bit. It looks good. Nothing wrong there. Kind of almost like a shoulder deal going on here, something like that. We've got Newcastle coal futures down slightly. Again, I still think we're going to go up. We're at resistance. So if we did a little bit of a resistance line through here, I'll just do it like this. Think of it kind of like this. We're right up on it. We're right up on it. We can also tighten it up if you want. Somewhere in this range is right where resistance is. So we're right there at resistance. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust trading sideways. We've got a little bit of resistance above us. We'll see if we can get up there. But it doesn't look bad. Still looks okay. Uranium futures pricing down a little bit, but I still think it looks fantastic to work its way on up. URA up 1.45. Looks like the equities are trying to make a little run here. We bounced off resistance. There's the resistance line I'm talking about. Pulled on back in a flag pattern, and we're breaking that flag pattern today. So I think it looks GOOD, good. URNM also breaking to the upside. Just think of these as flag patterns, guys. They're flag patterns working its way on up. URNJ, think of it as a flag pattern or a consolidation here. And then we try to break. So they all look good. No problems here for me. Copper up a little bit today. We do have some downside selling pressure. We'll see if it reverses. For me, these are the most difficult things to get right, are like when they come up, they move sideways like this next to these big red candlesticks in a continuation. These are the hardest ones to get right if they keep pulling on up. A lot of the times, what I use to gauge are these large red candlesticks signaling a potential reverse point, but we've got one here too and a few up here. So sometimes those can be reversal candlesticks and sometimes they fail and they continue to go higher. That's why it's important to be a hybrid investor, because the fundamentals ultimately dictate the longer term direction. The fundamentals longer term. Short term, you can go in either direction very quickly. COPX also working up 1.2%, looking good. Iron ore up 0.94, looks good. We've got this big gap here. At the gap, I don't know if you guys bought Gap jeans or clothes. I never really did, but this kind of looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks almost like an accumulation cylinder for iron ore. Looks good. Aluminum right at that resistance again. We can't break through this resistance, guys. The resistance is against us. What is it, the Craggle or whatever? Yeah. Well, right there is a resistance. We've been bouncing back and forth. Once this breaks, it'll be a lot of fun. Some people will probably look at this if they put it on log. They'll be like, "That's a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder." Maybe, very well could be. Looking good. Nickel down a little bit today. It still looks good to go higher. Just looks like a little bit of selling pressure we've run into. Might have a little bit of resistance going across in this area over here. Moo up 0.56. I think Moo's going to rip, guys. I really do. Um, we've broken out of the falling wedge. We've held support. The sellers had their chance to break through, guys, and they got kicked in the nuts. They didn't like getting kicked in the nuts, and the buyer's going to come in here and push it higher. That's just the way it is. And here it is. It's just two little small selling pressure days. That's all they could muster. So looks good. Emerging markets continue higher. That was even in the face of a dollar that was moving sideways and rates that were going up on the long end. Bullish engulfing. Looks good to go higher. Hiya, hiya, hiya. That's that. What's that one? I don't know. That one girl that made all that money. She says like fire, fire or something like that. Yeah. Pinky doll. That's what it is. KRE. Oh, up 3.5. We're still within the pattern. Looking good. Feeling good. Look at that. It's ready to go. Let's break, boys. Come on. Just moving sideways here. I think it looks good. I think we're ready for a break at some point here. So these are just consolidations, break higher, consolidation, break higher. It's that stair step pattern. Your double bottom was down here. You could even put little nips on it or something. It could be something else. But that looks good. We've got tan up 2%, right at support. There we are, getting some support. Way to go, tan. Lithium down 1.8%, but the companies that I follow today, they were up massively, like 10%. I don't know what they are invested in, but the companies I was in were up quite a bit today in the lithium space. There was a few that were double digit, and one was real close to double digit percentages. REMX, that looks good. Good, nice little bullish engulfing. A little bit of a consolidation there. Maybe we can head on up. We've got Baltic Dry Index right on support almost. It's a little bit above it, but it's almost right at support. XHB up 0.8%. We're at support, looking like we're getting the bullish engulfing today. Let's see if we can move on higher. All of the housing bears are going to go into hibernation soon, probably. Hopefully they ate enough fish for that hibernation that's coming. RUT, nice, nice. Look at that. Look at that little move we got going on the Russell. This is a consolidation there. I'm just going to do, a little bit cleaner lines. Consolidation there, and then we're breaking to the upside. Looks good. I think we're going to go higher. SPX still working its way on up. We need to go to bubble land way up there. So we could get a blow off top here, guys. NASDAQ continuing higher too, working its way on up. SMCI up 2%. Let's see if we can get the buyers to work its way on up. This is kind of what a bottom looks like. And if you were to look at this, you had the big selling pressure, and the sellers, they blew everything on this right here. That's where they blew it. They put it all there. And then we just went sideways for a little while. Then the buyer said, no, we're coming in. Buyers came in, squeezed up in this little bull flag, and we're starting to head higher again. So we'll see if we can get momentum to start on the upside here. I think they've already started it to some degree. So it looks good. NVIDIA down, well, it's flat, 0. It shows red, but we've broken out of that. Momentum up. Momentum is up. And then Bitcoin up 5.44. There's your big bullish engulfing. There we go. So what we had here was just a small little consolidation. Your consolidation sell through is about that, and then it goes to that. So we almost did it. and then we got the big buying pressure that came in. So that's how you do it. That's kind of roughly what it is. Not perfect, but that's what it is. So that looks good to go higher. And then Ethereum working its way on up too, looking like it's trying to put in a little bit of a double bottom edge right there. And then we're starting to break on up. So maybe we could do one of those. What do you think? Is that it? Is that going to be the path? Here, let me do this. There we go. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it there and see if that actually plays out that way. But that's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website. We've got our question and answer session coming up tomorrow. You guys can ask me whatever you want. We can go over a bunch of different companies. I think I'm going to go over some technical analysis and my approach and what I look at. What looks like a bottom? What does a bottom feel like? What are some things that could occur if we move around a bottom, which happens sometimes. Sometimes they just rip. You get these falling wedges, and actually we've got one right here behind me in Ethereum. This falling wedge coming through here. And sometimes these guys rip, and sometimes they do exactly what this did. They pop out, and then they go around. Sometimes they even fall down here, where we come on and do something like that. Or they can even kind of create another falling wedge. All those are legit, and we will go over some of these setups that are really good right now that we can have potential investment opportunities in. So if that interests you, and I do go after some pretty large, pretty leveraged plays, a lot of upside potential, and I try to buy them at lows, and that is where you reduce your risk. You want to buy them when they're low, bottoming out, showing signs of bottoming, and then gone. Some of them already taken off quite a bit, like 80% in a few weeks in the lithium sector. But that's what I've got for today, guys. We'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.